Hey everybody, it's Katrina Russell again. I hope you're staying safe and healthy. I wanted to talk to you guys a little bit about this Marxist socialism thing that's spreading the world or the country, and I don't get it. Um, it's there's an entire generation of people who feel like they have the right to things that other people have just because they exist. And I don't know why this is. I don't know if it's the whole participation trophy thing that we used to always say, well, you can't just give everybody a trophy. They're gonna not understand the concept of earning a trophy. And everyone's like, no, it'll be great. It'll boost their self-esteem. They'll feel like they'll feel important. It's like, yeah, they do. They feel like they deserve things that they didn't earn. And it's happening. Like, literally, there's a Marxist movement that's like, well, why should rich people have things and we shouldn't? Well, because they worked and they contributed to society and they did things. And people need to do that. People need to contribute to society. They need to have connections. They need to have families. They need to take on responsibilities. They need that to survive. Their brain needs that to have something to do, to live, to think about, to help themselves. And there's an entire generation who they literally are saying they want to end the nuclear family, that they just want to swipe left and have fun and no commitments and no right. I don't really know which way it is, but they just want to swipe and have fun and no commitments, and they just want to be given money by the government because why should they have to work? And now they're taking over the government. The real government's listening to these people, and it doesn't make any sense to me. It's like, I don't know if it's just because the people have been in government forever and never worked. I don't know. But during the COVID, lockdowns that have been happening, overdoses and suicides have been skyrocketing everywhere. And that's because people are feeling useless. They're feeling like, what is the point of life? I can't see people. I can't, form relationships. I can't go to work. I can't pay my bills. I can't do anything. What's the point of life? Because that is the point of life. The point of life is to accomplish things. That's why we're here, to accomplish things. Without accomplishing anything, people are useless. And that's what's happening is, people are literally burning things in the streets because they have nothing to do. They don't have jobs. They don't have careers. They don't have relationships. And they don't understand that that's what they're missing. My son's father was an addict. And I can remember him having conversations about that, how he wanted universal income. And I was like, oh, okay, that doesn't seem like who's going to make the money to give to the government. And, well, no, the people who want to work will work, and they'll be this. But other people will just not work. And it's like, well, what would they do? Well, they don't have to work. There's enough things to not, it doesn't need to. And I'm like, but you do. And most of the time this happened is when he started to think this way was when he started to relapse. So when he was going to school or he was working or he was doing whatever, he was great. Then the summers would come and all he'd want to do is sit around and play video games. And it was really bad. And he got to the point where he actually wanted to be a robot. Like an actual, think Cyberman from Doctor Who. No feelings, no nothing. Existence, because it was easier to just exist. I was like, that's not good. But that's what happens when there's nothing quality. We decided to have our son And we did. And he freaked out because all of a sudden there was responsibility. He wanted the fun part of having our son, but not the responsibility part of having our son. Every time he started to do better and better in school, because he ended up going back to school, he would do well while he was doing better. But then when it was like thinking about the next step, he would freak out because then what's he going to get a job after he's done? Like, how could he do that? He doesn't want to get a job. And he would relapse. Happened all the time because it was easier just to dull the senses than to think about the stress. He was never taught how to deal with the stress of accomplishment. And he was never taught about being proud of accomplishments. He was raised at a time, he was born in 1982, he was raised at a time when it just started to be, oh, you signed up for soccer, here's a trophy. Oh, okay, doesn't matter what you do, doesn't matter, nothing matters, nothing doesn't matter. He was, the beginning of the swipe generation. I'm a little older than him, so we actually had to earn our stuff. We had to talk to people in bars. But it's such a shallow generation where they don't understand their worth in reality because they think that just existing is their worth and not what they can contribute. And I think that that's the reason why things are so crazy right now. That's why drug addiction is so rampant. That's why suicides are going crazy. That's why school shootings and now lootings and riots, because they don't feel like they have to earn anything. They don't feel like they're actually worth things. They don't feel like I'm trying to think of how to word this. Like they feel like everybody's the same. Everybody's just should get everything that they want and nothing else matters. And so therefore they're not worth anything more than anybody else because they don't do anything that's worth anything. Does that make any sense? Am I explaining this properly? Like, someone starts a new business, they feel like that's worth something. If someone, there's whole things about like getting married isn't an accomplishment. It's like, but it is. You found somebody. You've made a commitment. You've made a choice. Sometimes it works, doesn't work out. Fine, but it's still a decision to take on a responsibility, and that's why it's worth something. Having a child is a decision to take on a responsibility. That's why it's worth something. Starting a business, getting a job, it's a decision that you realize that you are capable of doing these things, that you have the ability to raise a child, to run a business, you are capable of these things. And that's where worth comes from. But just sitting at home saying, you should just give me money because, like, I exist, so it's not fair that you have money and I don't. That's not, or I work a job. Like, yeah, you created this whole business that, contributed to the world, but like I, flipped a burger before. I mean, I dropped it, but, I flipped it. That's not, it's like they're specifically keeping themselves down just to prove that it doesn't matter. But it does. And I think that the only way that we are going to create a world again, I mean, this country was based on anybody can do anything. That's literally what it's based on. You can come here and you can do anything. Immigration is crazy. We constantly have people overstaying their visas, sneaking into their country, doing everything that they can because they know if they make it to this country that they can do anything. And then we have people who are born here who say, Why should I have to do anything? I live here. Just give me stuff. Doing stuff is like, really? They come here. You're burning the country down because it's unfair that you have to work to get things. You're drugging yourself into oblivion because you have no goals, no desire to do anything, nothing. You're killing yourselves, you're killing each other because nobody really matters if nothing matters. That's what it comes down to. And there are people who are literally killing themselves to come to this country for any kind of opportunity. And you support those people. I support those people. Come, work hard, accomplish things. Great. But that means you have to work hard and accomplish things. That doesn't just mean you walk through the door and we hand you a check. It doesn't just mean you come out of your mother's womb and we give you a check. The whole point is that you can do anything that you want to do. There's a plane. Someone learned how to fly a plane. You can do anything that you want to do. You can become anything you want to become, but you have to work for it. That's where your worth comes from. That's how you make the money to get to the next level, how you get the self-esteem and the awareness. And maybe you get into something that doesn't, maybe you become a social worker and you don't make a lot of money, but you feel the self-worth because of all the people that you've helped. That's where worth comes from. And just an entire generation of people thinking that their worth is just based on the fact that they were born and that they don't have to do anything and that they're so miserable that they swipe and do drugs and kill themselves and each other just horrifies me as a parent. And that's all I wanted to say. And thank you and have a nice day.